You a horror fan or filmmaker? Well, you've come to the right place. Here in this video, I'm breaking down my eco horror found footage film, Wolfsbane. It's a feature film and it's on YouTube right now. My own film school was DVD and Blu-ray commentaries from filmmakers. Now, here's me contributing to that way of sharing knowledge and experience. And also, there might be a few anecdotes that involve last-minute rewrites, keeping actual wolves away from the film crew, and an interesting coincidence when it comes to casting my movie daughter. And now, let's break down the movie a little bit. These scenes, there's two scenes like that in the movie. I shot them myself with my phone. I wanted that typical phone shake that you get when you don't use a gimbal or anything. And yeah, it's about now. She goes from the street to the subway, takes a train. Sunset is coming. Night is about to fall. And it also makes sense given her voiceover, what she's saying, that she leaves some certainty to go to understand what happened to her father when he disappeared, and she arrives there nighttime. It's a journey into her own depths, into her own origins, that's gonna reveal some darkness that's very much in her too. And that way of wrapping up that little sequence expresses that it's gonna be her own journey into her own darkness. The actress that we cast, we realized that, and that's the little maybe supernatural detail, that her and I are both born on January the 13th. 13 years apart. 13. This is my character coming back in the movie. And so he says, you see over there, they've got the sun. And well, that's true. We shot on the north side of the mountain. And for 4 months during winter, zero sun there, but you can see it on the other side. And the thing is, why did we shoot there in this very old house that was the last house before the woods? We were the only one living there year-round because I just spoiled it. During the COVID days, we left the city to go live there. And very soon I was like, I gotta write something. I gotta shoot something here. And yeah, there was this chapel right in front of the house. The chapel was named Notre-Dame des Sept Douleurs, which my character in the movie translates literally Our Lady of the Seven Pains, but it is my understanding that in the English-speaking world, it's translated as Our Lady of the Seven Sorrows. But it's literally right in front of the house where the character lives, which is also the house where I lived. And yeah, the winters were long there if you weren't writing, shooting, and editing an indie movie. Thank God. I shot, wrote, and edited an indie movie. Okay, this little scene now concludes a little emotional arc that was not originally written in the movie. That's about my character and how meeting a deer impacted him. Because he meets the deer, he sees that the deer has been attacked by wolves, he tracks the deer with his dog, and then the fate of the deer makes him fall off the wagon. And this whole thing was based on an actual encounter when I was walking my dog with a deer. He was huge, like huge, you see, Donald Trump style, huge. That's how big. And absolutely magnificent. So it inspired me, that scene where the character says this is how it felt to meet that animal that's so powerful, so it feels like gods are walking among us. And I created this whole little arc that I compressed to not take too much time in the editing, but to me it it sprinkled themes of the movie in here in a way that was emotionally connected to the character, which was interesting, and also a sense of danger, the presence of the wolves, and that I had to keep an eye on my dog, which was, by the way, true. I had to keep an eye on my dog because there were wolves there. And of course, one wolf versus one young shepherd dog. Shepherd dog was going to be in trouble. And fun fact, I think it was on the second day where we lived there. The old local guy tells me like, "Hey, come and see this." And there was a leg, a deer leg. I think it was a doe that was like torn apart, and the rest was gone. 20 yards, 20 meters from the house where we lived. And now in this scene, this type of hook that we see as a talisman that's used there, it's based on actual wolf traps that shepherds, farmers, people who had cattle used back in the old days, because they would stick those into pieces of meat, throw them around their flock. Wolves would go for it, and since there was 2 spikes at each end, or maybe sometimes 4, wolves would bite, and it just locked inside their flesh, and they would like die of thirst or hunger or bleed to death or kind of drown in their own blood, something like that. Okay, now the scene that's coming here, where I see some strange tracks in the snow. It was not written in the screenplay at first because it's early in the morning. I go outside to walk the dog. It's middle of winter. It's like a minus 10 degrees Celsius. And I saw these tracks that we just saw. No idea what it was. I asked locals, old locals, people like, yeah, no, I don't know what that is exactly. So if someone here zooms in and is able to identify them, that would solve a mystery. Something I always try to do when I make horror flicks. I love to have a lot of the locations visible, to really have this the where we shoot be really present in the frame, so that you can feel it. That's why there's some organic material, with the stones, the moss, the tree behind her, and also try to entrap the characters in the frame, even when they're outside, to apply pressure to them, so that we can feel that there's a thread, that this is not a place to relax. And also, I like to position some element of nature or the location in a way, to position the actors in a way that resembles one element of nature, to have them be part of where they are. That's why the way she holds herself and the way the tree is behind her, there's some similarities. This little poem that my character finds and translates is clearly a metaphor for how the shamanic aspect, the possession aspect of the movie, and the werewolf myth are intertwined. It tells you everything you need to know about the lore, pretty much, in like 2 minutes, in a way that feels in a way that feels kind of threatening and mysterious. And now the music comes back into the movie after a long time where it was absent, because now we left the normal-ish reality and we plunge into the supernatural. And now the daughter character, she picks up the rest of the poem that clearly now states that as someone said about the movie, shout out Cujo the Conqueror, when you mess with nature, nature messes back. And also here there's something about echo anxiety too. Do not let yourself be swept away by the pain and the rage of the betrayed land. Sometimes when you see when you see, for example, how many species are on the brink of extinction because of human activity, it can be infuriating. But the whole thing also is, no matter the rage, it's a big theme in the movie. No matter the rage that you feel, how legitimate it feels to you, no matter how your pain feels legitimate, do not become a caricature of yourself, a monstrous caricature of yourself. And it works on different levels with the movie. Of course, there's the supernatural element. Do not get possessed by the enraged spirit of nature that will try to use you to turn against the ones you love. But there's also, do not be what my character was at the beginning of the movie, completely crushed by his pain and to the point that he becomes the absolute worst father that would not be abusive physically, that you can be, almost. And the rest of the movie is him trying to atone for that. But the movie talks about that on these two levels: literal, supernatural, horrific, and the personal tragedy, the emotional aspect. Because to me, a movie, especially a horror movie, needs to do both: to work on the individual character scale, to have real internal stakes, and to have a very interesting and impressive, in the most horrific way, mystery, lore that drives the whole thing. And speaking of lore, we created their masks to in a very shamanic fashion. They take from plenty of traditions and they follow their heart and they create their whole rituals and masks and clothing and all that. Okay, so now we are at the start of Act 2 of the movie. And because I really like the 3-act structure, because I think you can use it to shift point of views, which is exactly what I do in that movie. So now we're shifting point of view, and of course in the same found footage aesthetic, but shots tend to be wider because it's about the shamans, these two people performing these rituals, and we see more of the nature. Because they have a different relationship with nature than my character. And also, there's very, very little dialogue in their 20-ish minute section of the movie, their first half of that act. And it helps creating a change of pace, a deeper plunge into the mystery. And also, the fact that they speak very little, but they speak French, creates a change of pace, even a little more. And we realize that this section matches their timeline, matches with the timeline of my character, meaning like there's one scene when you can realize that, oh, my character, the guy heard that and it turns out it was these two people doing this, so that's the same moment, and you just catch up with the story in that way. So it's a real taking a look behind the curtain section. We go deeper into the lore. We go much closer to what's the actual threat, the spirits of nature that are getting angrier and angrier that these shamans are trying to tame. Okay, now this little scene just to say that okay, so the actress did a great job with the all the screaming and howling of someone being possessed by the angry spirits. And a little fun fact: that valley there where we shot is very narrow, and so that means that I don't know how many miles, how many kilometers around, but she was heard by many people that clearly started to think that something quite sketchy was happening in those woods. That scene, so what we see in the movie, it's a 6-minute-ish scene with a shot that I really like. There's the full moon in the middle of the shot, and this is a key scene of another character being possessed and my character fighting them for very emotional reasons too. And so it was written in one way. There was something that the other character was supposed to say to me that would make me react in some way. And I realized as we were acting, so we were like minute 4 of this oneer, because of course, found footage, one scene equals one take, that my character would absolutely not react in the way that I had written, and he would react in a much more emotional way. So I did that. It's our first take. It was it was a film rehearsal. It's our first take. I have this very emotional reaction, this deep thing that comes out, and so the scene shifts from there, and I'm not cutting. My character does something it was not quite supposed to do, and so the other actor in the scene reacts in a way, takes the scene in another direction compared to what was written originally, which is a way better direction. And also there's a little bit of stunts in that scene, and everything was just very, very well done on that first filmed rehearsal. First rehearsal at all, ever. We hadn't rehearsed that. And so after I yell cut, after that 6-minute take that we just did, told the crew, I look at the crew and I see that, the people that are behind the camera, they got tears in their eyes. They're very like, yeah, there was something in that take. And I was like, okay, we could make a few things better, but that emotion and that tension that we felt because we steered away from the beaten path, we will never be able to replicate that. So this is our first and only take that we will do for this scene. And it changes the whole movie to me. So what I did, because we shot that in the winter, and what happens later, we shot that in the following fall. It was all supposed to be shot in the winter. So after that scene, I told them, okay, we stop for now. I rewrite the whole, like half of the movie, based on what that moment and how far we took it emotionally. And that's why there was the daughter character who became the protagonist, because first it was a two-hander between one of the shamans and me, and I created this whole thing and this whole her wanted to investigate what happened and all that. And that's the great thing with indie movies and with being a writer, director, producer, and actor too. You can adapt to these moments where you feel like this is not because you're directing the movie that you are necessarily the one who knows it better than itself. The movie, it's its own beast. And sometimes you gotta be able to realize that you were taking the wrong path, and you need to shift. You need to aim at some emotional truth, at what's the emotional core of your story, without changing its style. You know, it's horror, it's found footage mystery. It is what it is, and it will stay that, and it has to. But sometimes your story, your movie will tell you this is where you have to go if you get the guts to go there. And which is the thing that I felt during the take. I was okay. My character, I had like a second or two where I felt like my character would react that way. He would. Yeah, I remember how crushing it felt at that moment. He would be not only crying, he would be wailing. This is he betrayed a being that one more being, because he did that before to his daughter, another being that he betrays that he should have never ever betrayed. So his whole life, his heart, his soul is crushed at that moment. It was not how it was written. And I had 2 seconds of, okay, will I go to that emotion? I'm not afraid of as an actor to go there, but it's happening during the take, so you're a little bit taken aback. And I went there, and of course, I absolutely do not regret it. I saw that the crew was like, and the other actor went with it and took it in an even better direction. And that's the great thing with indie movies. When you're a one-man army and there's a little crew, you can adapt to the things that could make or break your movie in a way that Hollywood just cannot for logistical reasons. Now the scene, I like this scene, I like this character, but that thing is, I'm paying the price of watching that movie because this is my friend Ethan Spears, who since passed away from cancer, still very young. And the fun thing is, because he was like, I'm no actor. I was a model. I'm no actor, and he was very nervous. He wanted to be in the movie. I think for the fun of it and for his other scenes that come later. But this scene was making him nervous, and so we had to do a few takes, but nothing terrible. And as he told me, this is why I didn't make it in Hollywood, because he went for some casting calls. I remember he was joking, but he was telling me, there was this guy who it was between me and him, because I had the looks, but he had looks and chops, and who was this guy? And it was for the series something with Vikings, like for the series Vikings. I mean, the main actor for the first 4 seasons, like Travis Fimmel. Oh yeah, fucking Travis. And of course he was joking. He was not bitter at all, but so he had went on to work on interior design, and he had made a great house with his wife right there where we shot in the French Alps, where we shot that movie. So in the French Alps, me and this guy from Vegas, we end up meeting in a very small village in the middle of the woods, and making a movie together. And that's why at the end of the movie, it's also in his memory, because he was a witty, funny, handsome as hell mother lover. And him and his wife, they had created a YouTube channel that soon ended up documenting his battle with cancer, that its peak and valley life. And it has some valuable information or things shared for someone who has to battle illness or knows or has someone they love who has to battle illness. Because so yeah, I'll recommend checking it out if there's a need for that. So yeah, you know, to make a movie. It takes so much time to make a feature, even a small indie like that. Maybe even more so sometimes, because sometimes you're out of budget. You need to work on your own time, so it's it's spread out through. It's a couple years of work. This one, couple years now since it has been completed, and things happen in the meantime. And to me, to be real talk, a lot of things I had. What was my life at that time? 3 years later, after shooting it, it's extremely different, and I would not have been able to foresee that this was in the cards for me. So there's also that with watching a movie. It's a moment in time for you and for other people's stories that's here forever. And sometimes there's the good stuff and there's the bad stuff. You pay a price for watching some of your stuff, and I'm paying a price for watching this one too. But that's the great thing with movies and also the internet. So now this story is pretty much forever now. And Ethan Spears lives forever. And yeah, so now we're into the whole section where the spirits activate, where the threat is much more present. And so I played with the chromatic aberration, and I created a more dirty image, which I had a lot of fun with, and also with that hypnotic score that evolves very, very progressively, and that never leaves you, and that's just about to pick up the pace a little bit in that scene when the character now has agency. She's like, okay, I figured everything out. No way the cops are going to dismiss these images, this footage that I just took, and now she puts herself in action. And I really love that with characters. I like when characters are smart and do the brave thing. That's also something I tried to do. Not to have my characters be morons, not to have my characters be unlikable, even the most unlikable of all unlikable characters in the movie, which is mine, because there's a redemption that makes sense, that might not succeed, but that he's going for. And yeah, that she's about to say something that just proves that she can be quite level-headed, even when in great danger like this, because she sees a little spring and she's lost, and she says, water only goes down, all the way down is the town. So she follows the water and goes back down, which is very simple. But I didn't want to overdo it to show, wow, she's so smart even when she is attacked by some very strange people / creatures. So just to say that, okay, she can be level-headed. I think that's the kind of stuff that makes you want to follow a character as an audience even more. They're not dumb. They're brave. They do their best, and their best can be reasonably can be significant. They're not incapable douches. How do you say douche plural? We pick up the pace. Danger is way closer. So there's Ethan back being very very efficient in the way he works. His physical performance works real well because he's got this very fluid way of moving. And as he told me when I told him that was very good what you did, right there in that take. It's like, my body's my instrument. Just don't ask me to speak. And I love that these two now they're like the doomed lovers from hell that just disappear in the dark of night. And now that they're both that they both became something else, that they abandoned their humanity. In that scene, which is the conclusion of everything, pretty much, it was, first off, it was written differently. Oh, one small detail. Just before that scene, a little earlier, we saw some big carcasses, big deer carcasses. Those were real. We actually found them in the woods, like almost the full carcasses without the legs. And so, yeah, that scene we had to change at the very, very last minute. So we pulled the all-nighter. We shoot the whole day and the whole night because it was the last night of shoot. We had no choice. Thankfully, you know, we're indie. Our crew was tough. Our cast was tough. We all were tough. And so, yeah, I wanted to have to reward the audience that went along with the movie, with my journey, my character's journey, and my daughter's character journey, with a moment where they meet again, and where the father now finally, after all these years, becomes a father again to her, in that moment where she's getting possessed by the spirits, and we realize now clearly that he was possessed by the spirits too at some point. He's able to control them, that he was around there. Yeah, and she's great what she does here. The scream was horrifying. Like you could feel the rage coming out of her. But yeah, I wanted that moment where he's a dad to her. Well, like, and that's tragic because he is finally what she wanted and needed him to be. But now it's too late. He saves her in a way, and he realizes just now that it is too late. So he says, "I'm sorry," to her, and she does this. And all her rage, you know, it's both the rage from the spirits, the betrayed land, as we call that in the movie, and her rage, all the pain and the hurt that she felt because of her father. And so it's, yeah, both the internal and the individual story and the bigger horrific story. My goal was that they meet at the perfect point and in the perfect way for what we were trying to do with the whole thing. So yeah, that was my little breakdown of my movie Wolfsbane. Hope it was interesting and that you learned a few things about craft or anything that could be useful. And you can check the movie here on my YouTube channel. There's also its prequel, Combe Noir, on my YouTube channel, streaming here for free. This is where they are released. They're gonna stay here. I'll make another breakdown soon. See you soon.